What's up, squad? Welcome to the channel. Dylan here. Today I'm in the garage. Got the FA5 parked. We're gonna be doing an install. So it is finally time to install this ktuned fuel rail. Also got my accessories to go with it. EFI fittings, idle air assist delete. But before we do this, if I am gonna do the idle air assist delete, I'm gonna need some sort of Honda bond to seal that line to make sure there's no leaks. So I'm gonna go head out, pick that up, and then we'll get back to this install. Okay, so because I'm gonna be working on the engine bay, can't be using the SI, can't be using the FA5. So we're gonna be using my mom's vehicle. Shout out to the minivan. We're gonna use that today and head out and pick up some Honda bond. This minivan is lit. But yeah, it's not the same. We're just gonna head out to Canadian Tire and get some Honda bond.
Brian Little.
It's always so weird going from a lowered car into driving a car that's this high. But anyways, we made it home. Time to get back into this install. So the first thing I'm gonna do is gonna remove the battery. You don't have to do it, but I'm just gonna do it. And for those who haven't seen the fuel rail, I'll just open it up real quick. Just like that. So this is going to be going in the car. I'm going to be replacing this old one. Okay, now we disconnected the battery. Now we're going to remove this ground cable over here. Then we're going to use a flathead to remove this plastic piece and unclip those injectors. So I'm going to start with this 10 mil. Just like that. That bolt. Don't lose your stuff and never drop bolts in the engine bay. Those ones hurt. This is the flathead to remove these clips. So it's gonna be, the plastic part is gonna be in like that. You just wanna use your flathead like this. Oops, looks like I broke it. You push the flathead like that and then this will come off. Just like that. So I'm gonna unclip those injectors, that's why it won't let me take it off. Just unclip the injectors just like that. Just squeeze. That one's giving me a problem. That one too. Hold up. Got him. Alright, so I moved the plastic cover and you just put it off to the side and now you'll have more room to remove the OEM fuel rail. Alright, so now we're going to focus on these two bolts right here. These are 12 millimeters, so I got the socket. About to remove this and this over here. So I cracked the bolts loose with the ratchet. Now I'm just unscrewing the 12. Simple as that. So we got this one out. Now we're getting this one out. Then after, we're gonna have to remove the studs, and you're gonna want to keep the OEM spacer that's there. So there's the bolt. Okay, so after you remove these two 12s, you're gonna use a flathead. Remove the injector. These clips right here with the flathead. You're gonna want to be careful. Just all these clips you want to take out. One here, there's 4 of them. This one. So you don't want to drop it. So I'll put the camera down and I'll finish up. Alright, so all 4 clips are out in that order. So next, I think I'm going to remove the fuel lines. You're just going to want to move this over and then squeeze that green thing. I'll show you guys after. But you also want to put some cloths in the engine bay because gas is going to leak when you do this. So make sure you cover the engine bay and catch some of the gas that's gonna leak through. And yeah, so I got some rags to cover the fuel lines when gas starts to leak. But I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I'm gonna try and remove this plastic cover thing. Even though you move it to the side, it still gets in the way. And then after that, I think we'll be able to remove the fuel rail without removing the gas line. So I'm just gonna try that out first. Okay, so I finally removed the plastic cover. I used the flathead and went through each and every clip. And I kind of stretched out the plastic, but oh well. I don't think I'm gonna be using it again. But yeah, now we have just a wire dangling, and it's more space to remove the fuel rail. Now we can remove the fuel rail. So all you literally have to do is just pull up on it. You want to be careful. See, those are the injectors. Let me put it back. And I think I'm going to remove this line to get it out of the way. That's going to be the idle air assist delete anyway, so I'm going to use up pliers and remove this line. And one more thing, you see how I pulled up the fuel rail? If your injectors come out during this step, you're going to want to have a cloth because gas might be coming out of your fuel rail. So far this install is going smooth, surprisingly. We're not done yet, but so far so good. Got my nice long sleeve on. I used pliers and removed this clamp. So I'm trying to pull out the hose, but this shit is super tight. So it might take me a while. I'm gonna keep cracking at it.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So it took a little bit of elbow grease, but I got it out. Now I can remove the fuel rail. Then we're gonna move on to the fuel lines. Whew, simple. Okay, now to remove the fuel rail or the fuel lines, you're gonna use, this cover was right here. You're just gonna spin it and like take it off. Then you have access to this like green thing, that green thing over there. You're gonna use a set of pliers, squeeze it, and you'll be able to disconnect the fuel line. But as you do this, make sure you have your cloth because gas is definitely gonna leak.
A few moments later.
Alright, so I got the fuel line out. Surprisingly, not that much gas came out of this line. I guess because the car is sitting. But like I said, you just pinch this green clip over here and separate this line. So when I remove the fuel rail, there might be gas in it, especially when you remove the injectors. So I have this jerry can over here. I might dump some gas in there. So yeah, so far so good. Yeah, so I got the fuel rail out. Now I'm just dumping some of the gas into the can. Smart move, you don't want to lose that many gas. And now the whole garage smells like 91. Do y'all like the smell of gas? Me, sometimes, but right now, I'm not loving it. So the fuel rail is off to the side. Now it's time to remove these studs, but you still want to keep this OEM spacer, like I said. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to try and hurry up because it is starting to smell like gas. Had to air out the garage. But yeah, I'm going to remove these studs. So you're going to put one nut upside down. Screw it there. Keep screwing. And then you're just going to put another one on top. I'm just going to lock them against each other. So I did one stud already, onto the second one. I covered the holes of the injectors because it kind of gets dusty out here or over here, so you don't want stuff going in your injectors. But same thing, you just lock the top nut against the bottom nut, and then use a wrench, focus on the bottom one, and the stud will come out. That's about it. Finally, we're done with the stock parts. Now that everything is out, the studs, the fuel lines. Nice. Now it's time to build the ktuned fuel rail. So we're gonna use the EFI fittings. Gonna take off these injectors, put it on the new fuel rail. Look at that bling bling. This also comes with the hardware to bolt up. And you want to make sure your injectors are clean. Look at that. You want to make sure it's clean and then swap them over to the new fuel rail. This whole garage smells like gas. But I got all the injectors out. The stock fuel rail is chilling over there. Just need to transfer it, plug the fittings in the new fuel rail, and we're good to go. It's time to wrap it up. Might be skipping a few steps, but it's basically whatever we did to take it off, we're just gonna put it back. Alright, so the ice is finally ready to go into the car. I just assembled it, put the injectors back, put the clips back, and remember that green thing for the fuel lines? If you're bolting it up to the fuel line, you want to put this back. The EFI fittings closes this end, and this bolts back to the fuel line. So now the ice is ready to go back in. So it's almost done. Just have to plug in the fuel rail properly. And this hose over here, I'm just gonna plug it now since I have the space. And this is what I picked up today. This Ultra Copper Permatex gasket maker. I'm just gonna put a little bit around that so it's sealed, and then I'm gonna use the idle air assist delete plug to plug this line in, and we should be straight. Should be straight. All right, y'all. So we're pretty much done over here. Let me show you guys the final results. So here it is. It's pretty tight fitment. To get the OEM fuel line back, I did have to use a lot of force to get it to fit onto this new rail. The OEM one is kind of like extended out. This one is more in, so I had to kind of stretch the OEM fuel line. The idle air assist, I just capped it off over here. I didn't completely remove it, so I have to do that later. I'd have to remove the intake, all that stuff. So the rail did get dirty in the process, so I just have to wipe it down. But for the fuel wires, or like the injector clips over here, I just tucked it behind the rail. That's the way I want it to look. And I also moved the ground cable underneath it. So yeah, the ground cable is just sitting out right here. So you can like finesse it. You can finesse this the way you want your engine bay to look. I just want it to be clean and kind of like tucked. So that's why I kind of put it behind and fixed it over there. But yeah, it's looking good. So I did forget to mention, the ktuned fuel rail uses a hex key. So this is a 6-inch hex key. You still retain the OEM spacers, like I said. And yeah, this is the fitment. It's pretty low, but it looks really good. I'm not sure if I'll continue this video tomorrow. Maybe I have to do the idle air delete, so I might leave the car parked and then remove the intake and do all of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think of the ktuned fuel rail. I hope this video was helpful. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.